I acted like a poor and naive mother when I met my daughter-in-law's family. Not because I was ashamed of who I am, but because I wanted to know who they were. And what I discovered that day changed my understanding of people forever. Before this story begins, let me ask you something. If you had one chance to see people's true nature without masks, without titles, without money involved, would you take it? Stay with me till the end, because this story is not just about me. It is about lessons every parent, every son, and every daughter needs to hear. And if stories like this teach you something about life, remember to like the video and subscribe. It helps these real stories reach more people who need them. My name is Margaret. I am a mother of one son, Daniel. Daniel was my whole world. I raised him alone after my husband passed away when Daniel was just 8 years old. Life was not easy. I worked 2 jobs, cleaned houses during the day, worked night shifts at a hospital cafeteria, and came home exhausted every night. But I never let Daniel feel poor. He never missed school. He never slept hungry. And most importantly, he never grew up bitter. Years passed. Daniel grew into a kind, intelligent, respectful man. He earned a scholarship, studied engineering, and built a stable career in Chicago. And that was when he met her. Her name was Olivia. Olivia was polite, soft-spoken, educated, and graceful. When Daniel first introduced her to me, I saw respect in her eyes. She called me ma'am at first, then mother, and later simply mom. I liked her instantly. But there was something Daniel hesitated to tell me. One evening, over tea, he finally said it. Mom, Olivia's family is very different from ours. Different how? I asked. They are wealthy. Old money. Business owners. They live in a large house outside the city. I smiled. Son, money does not raise children. Values do. But deep inside, I knew what Daniel was afraid of. Judgment. The day came when Olivia's family invited me to meet them for the first time. Dinner at their home. Daniel offered to buy me a new dress. He wanted me to look presentable. I refused. Not because I could not afford one, but because I already had a plan. I wore my old simple coat. No jewelry. No makeup. My shoes were worn but clean. I tied my hair back and carried my old handbag. Daniel looked worried. Mom, are you sure? I smiled and said, son, today I am not going to meet them. Today I am going to observe them. The house was massive. Tall gates. Marble floors. Expensive art on the walls. Olivia's parents greeted us. Her father, Richard, shook Daniel's hand firmly. Her mother, Eleanor, gave me a quick smile. Polite. Measured. Curious. Dinner was served. They asked me questions. Where do you live? A small apartment near the old district. What do you do? I clean houses. Sometimes I help at the cafeteria. A brief silence followed. I saw it. That tiny shift in their expressions. The way Eleanor's smile tightened. The way Richard leaned back in his chair. They were still polite. But something had changed. Throughout dinner, conversations drifted away from me. Business deals. Travel stories. Luxury vacations. No one asked about my life anymore. Except Olivia. She looked uncomfortable. She kept glancing at me, at Daniel. After dinner, Eleanor pulled Olivia aside. I overheard whispers. Later that evening, Daniel told me what happened. They think our backgrounds are too different. They worry about how it will look socially. I hugged my son. And that was when I decided I would continue acting exactly as they believed I was. The wedding preparations began. Olivia's family took control. Venues. Guest lists. Designers. I was barely included. When asked about contributing financially, I said gently, I will give what I can. Eleanor smiled thinly. That is very kind of you. At the wedding rehearsal dinner, Eleanor introduced me to guests as Daniel's mother, who worked very hard despite her circumstances. Despite her circumstances. The words burned. But I remained silent. Because truth has a strange way of revealing itself. A week before the wedding, disaster struck. The venue canceled unexpectedly due to legal issues. Panic erupted. Refunds were uncertain. New venues were expensive. Time was short. Richard was furious. Eleanor was stressed. They needed help. That was when I spoke. There is a community hall downtown. It belongs to a foundation I volunteer with. It is available. Richard looked at me skeptically. A community hall? Yes. It is clean, elegant, and meaningful. They had no choice. We went to see it. The hall was beautiful, recently renovated. Large chandeliers, perfect acoustics. Richard was surprised. How do you know this place? He asked. I smiled. I funded the renovation. Silence filled the room. Eleanor laughed nervously. I explained. Years ago, after my husband passed, I invested wisely. I lived simply. I saved. I built a quiet portfolio. I never needed luxury. I needed peace. The foundation, the hall, several scholarships. They were all funded by me. Richard's face changed. Eleanor's eyes widened. That night, they invited me to sit with them. Really talk. For the first time, they asked about my life, my journey, my values. They listened. The wedding day arrived. Simple, elegant, perfect. During my speech, I said something I will never forget. I said, I acted poor and naive because I wanted to see hearts, not wallets. Some passed the test. Some learned from it. But today, we move forward as family. After the wedding, everything changed. Respect replaced pity. Conversations replaced silence. But the biggest change was in Olivia. She hugged me and whispered, "Thank you for staying kind even when you were ignored." Years later, Olivia's parents confessed. They said we were wrong. Money blinded us. And I forgave them. Because this story was never about revenge. It was about truth. So here is what I learned. We judge too quickly. We respect wealth more than wisdom. We forget that the quietest people often carry the deepest stories. If this story made you reflect, take a moment to like this video and subscribe. More real stories like this are coming, and you do not want to miss them. Remember this. Character reveals itself when no one is watching. And kindness costs nothing. Thank you for listening.